The tax credit is one, complicated, two, not very large, and three, it's temporary. It goes away at least within 3 years. The whole point of it was to give advocates of government-run health care a talking point. Oh, small business, don't worry, there's a tax credit for you. It's temporary, it's never serious, it's a little complicated to use, it's really not much use to anyone. It's only in there to neutralize small businesses, and NFIB spent a year being irrelevant on health care because they were fooled by issues like this. Well, every $600, you do business with Home Depot, you do business with the guys down the street. It's a lot more 990s, it's a lot more paperwork. It is an incredible paperwork burden. It's one of the goofier ideas in the so-called health care bill. Look, if the government's going to get involved in running your health care, and it's going to have to control costs by not paying doctors as much as you might otherwise, by not paying pharmaceutical companies for new medicines, you're going to have to second guess every check anybody writes on health care because you're trying to drive costs down because the costs are now tax dollars and they're your money that you took from somebody else. There is a tremendous amount of government involvement in your life that has to flow from this. The IRS and increased scrutiny and transparency of your life, not transparency of the government, transparency of your life, flows from this. The IRS will be a big part of that. Your privacy is going to be gone, and they're going to use all this information to control your decisions. Look, the advocates of big government are coming up constantly with new reasons for new taxes. They never come up with a reason for lower taxes. They only come up with reasons for new taxes. At some point, it doesn't matter what the issue is. A competent big government liberal can come up with an excuse as to why that means we should have higher taxes. Now, if they're being serious, sometimes they'd be for lower taxes, sometimes they might be for higher taxes, but they're always for higher taxes. Wanting to tax fatty foods is ridiculous. People can gain weight eating non-fatty foods. Just eat enough of them. People who have one cookie are not getting fat. I mean, it is trying to micromanage people's lives. If the government's going to have to pay for your health care costs, they will try and run your life for you so that you don't gain weight and all these other things. It really does lead to government rationing of everything from food, for crying out loud, to health care benefits. There are lots of bad taxes in the new law. One of the worst is the tax that forces you to buy insurance, the mandated insurance. What if you don't pay? They tax you. Now, if you don't pay the tax, they throw you in prison. So at the end of the day, the alternative to buying your health insurance is prison, because there's a tax just as an intermediary step. There are a whole series of taxes that damage and are designed to destroy health savings accounts, flexible savings accounts, reducing the tax benefits that made them attractive as ways for people to reduce their own health care costs through buying wisely. But they're destroying all that with a series of taxes whose goal is not to raise money, but to destroy choice in how you choose your health care. And then there's a tax on investment income, which basically takes the Medicaid tax and puts it on investment, which reduces investment in the whole economy. There are tens of thousands of tanning salons and people who work at tanning salons. I think, interestingly, one of the real strong pushbacks early on against this whole bill will come from that industry, because these are a lot of single women who run their own businesses, and when they hear that Obama sucker punched them, and he got their votes, and he lied to them, and he went after their industry to ruin their lives and make them unemployed, they talk to how many people every week? It's like a barber shop or a salon. A lot of people are going to learn about the ugly underside of Obamacare at their tanning salon. People expected the doctors to make this case. Evidently, the doctors forgot to. Maybe the tanning salons will do what the doctors should have been doing if they'd been paying attention. No, it does nothing to reduce the cost of health care unless it imposes the rationing that they say they won't do. Now, there are rules in there that would give them the power to ration. They can ration. They claim they don't have any plans to, which you wonder why they're setting up the agencies that would allow it if they weren't going to do it. We're not going to have death panels, but we'd like to have something ready in case we need to. If you're over 70, I'd start worrying. And so if there's rationing, that will reduce healthcare expenditures by reducing the number of sick people, by denying them care, denying them the care that they could use. If they don't do that, this is a tremendous increase in overall spending costs. The trick that the Obama administration used when they say this will save money is that it takes in more in taxes than it pays out in benefits, i.e. reduces the deficit. But it dramatically increases spending and dramatically increases taxes. It makes the government bigger. It just wants to argue that according to their numbers, which they've had to admit at least 4 times since they passed it, were incorrect. They keep changing it always in a bad direction for taxpayers. That they'll raise more in taxes than they raise in spending. But they raise spending and they raise taxes, so we're all going to be worse off.